Hey guys, it's Mahoney here for another Tuesday tip, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my St. Patrick's Day outfit. This was my grandfather's outfit. Caitlin is running the camera for me. Say hi, Caitlin.
Hi.
So today we're going to talk about what's called a structured settlement, and this is something that only happens in personal injury cases or potentially a workers' comp case. You probably have never heard of it. Most people have never heard of it, but there is a commercial that's done during the daytime by a company. I won't name the company, but I mean, it's easy to figure out who they are. What they talk about, well, they'll buy your structured settlement, which, by the way, is not a good deal. If you sell those, typically you actually get a very low return on it, but I'll talk about that at the end. So what is a structured settlement? So there's certain areas that are exceptions in the tax code that are left there because both sides of the aisle agree that they're a good idea, and so we just kind of leave them there and we don't talk about them. And this is one of those areas. If you settle a personal injury case, the money that you receive from that personal injury case is tax-free, generally. There are a few little exceptions to that where it can be a taxable event, but for the most part, it's tax-free money. So in a structured settlement, usually these only happen on a little bit bigger cases. You don't normally do these on smaller cases. In fact, most companies will not do a structure that's less than $50,000. So let's say you settle a case for $300,000, and then your lawyer is going to usually take about a third of that money, and then a lot of times you have to pay back your health insurance costs. So let's say you've got $75,000 in medical bills that you have to pay back. So when all is said and done, there's no math, that's why I went to law school. There's $125,000 that you're going to be dealing with. Now, what a structure would mean the insurance company takes, let's say, $75,000 and they purchase an annuity. Now, an annuity has gotten a bad name lately in terms of an investment tool. And they have become kind of bad investments that you just keep rolling over the investment and it doesn't work out very good for the person that's doing the investing. But this is an old-fashioned annuity, back before they got kind of morphed into what they are today. And an annuity is a reverse life insurance policy. So with a life insurance policy, the life insurance company is betting that you're not going to die, that you're going to live, and they get to collect premiums. Well, with an annuity, it's kind of the opposite. They're almost betting against that. But the money that they're paying you is guaranteed. So you give the insurance company an amount of money, and then they agree to pay you a certain amount of money per month for a certain period of time or for the rest of your life. So like, let's say you settle, and these numbers can be all over the place, but let's say you settle a case when you're 30 years old for this amount of money, and you decide to put $75,000 into a structure. So $50,000, or the difference between $125,000 and $75,000, $50,000 you just take. That's the money that you put into your pocket. The insurance company then buys this structure, buys this annuity, and let's say that you say, I want it to start paying me when I'm getting close to retirement. So at 60 years old, how much money will you pay me if it pays me from 60 years old until I am 80 years old? So you figure I'm going to retire and I want to do a lot of traveling. How much money would you pay me a month? Well, the insurance company gets to hang on to this money that entire time and then pay you. So number one, they'll give you a better interest rate than what you would get now. So at your bank right now, your interest rate is like 0 or 0.00 something. So let's say that the insurance company would say today we'll give you 3.75 interest rate on your $75,000, and that goes, you're 30 years old here in my example, so that gets to collect interest for 30 years, and then they start paying you monthly. Well, over these amount of time from 60 to 80 and adding in this 30 years, this $75,000 might turn into $225,000 that they pay you monthly, whatever, I don't know what that would be off the top of my head, but let's say it's $500 per month. That's probably wrong, but whatever, it's just numbers. But they pay you an amount of money monthly during this period of time. Again, guaranteed money. If you pass away, it's descendable, just like a life insurance policy. You can transfer it to somebody else. It's completely descendable. Here's why it's a good idea. Number one, it's a guaranteed return. So you get the 3.75 no matter what. They have to pay you that interest rate. And these insurance companies are also guaranteed by the state. So if one of them goes bust, then the state will come in and make the payments. But here's also the trick. This money would have been tax-free had you taken it. Because the insurance company that you're settling with is purchasing the annuity, the structure, and then assigning it to you, all of this gain that you get is also tax-free. So you end up not getting $75,000, but $225,000 later in life, and all of that money ends up being tax-free. Works out good for the insurance company because typically the company that becomes the company that pays you the structure is a wholly owned subsidiary of that insurance company. So it's good for the insurance company. So that's why one side of the aisle likes it. It's also good for the plaintiff because they get to delay their payments and then they also get to get more money tax-free. So like if I settle a case for a minor, so I got a kid that's 6 years old. Parent is killed in a car wreck. Happens a lot. So now we'll do structures for that kid and start making payments when he turns 18. And a lot of times we'll do monthly payments at 18. You can do more than one of these. So take some of the money and do monthly payments at 18, and then do like annual payments like towards college at 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, and then do payments at like 25 and 30 and 35 and 40. And you can spread all this out. Do monthly payments and do lump sum payments. There's no limit as to how you can do these things, only that each individual structure typically has to be about $50,000. St. Paul here in Freeport does a great deal of this, and they're a very good company to do these with. Also, Berkshire Hathaway does a lot of these structures. Now, if you go talk to your money person, so if you have a money manager through A.G. Edwards or Edward D. Jones or whatever, they typically don't know what these are because they don't deal with them. They'll tell you that they know what they are, but they've never dealt with this because the people that sell these, they only do structures. That's all they do. The guy that does all my structures, his name is Stan Geller out of Rockford. He's on his third generation of Mahoney's doing structures, and this is all he does his whole career is doing structures. So money people haven't dealt with these. They don't know these, and if you say that it's an annuity, they're going to tell you what an annuity is a bad investment. Well, generally an annuity is a bad investment. And then they're going to say, well, you're only getting 3.75%. Okay, true, but that's also tax-free money. So 3.75% before taxes would be more like 5%, depending upon your tax bracket, or 5.25%. And it's a guaranteed return. And it delays your money so that you don't get a chance to blow it. It gives you an opportunity to have guaranteed savings. Now, what happens with people a lot is they do these structures and then they end up in a situation where they need money, and then they call that company that I'm not going to name, and then they sell the structure to the company, which you have to actually go to court to do because it's such a bad deal. Typically, that company will pay you 30 to, if you're lucky, 45% of the total value of the structure they will pay you now. So if your total value of the structure is $225,000, they might pay you like the original $75,000. So you get your original money, none of the gain, and then they take all the gain because they get to get the money down the road. Not a good deal. So if you have a structure, selling it to one, if you got, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If you need a new furnace in your house and you have no other options, then you have no other options. But if you can do something with a private organization as opposed to that company, that's a much better idea. So that's what a structured settlement is. I try to get my clients to do them all the time. They do not benefit the lawyers at all. We don't make any money off of them. It delays when we get paid. So lawyers have kind of not really pushed them like they used to. Plus the interest rates are really low right now because interest rates are super low. Obviously, if you were doing these back in the 70s, your interest rates are super high. But I really think they're a great idea for my clients. It gives them income. It gives them monthly income so that they don't have a pile of money that now they all of a sudden have to manage. And I try to encourage them as much as I can. Thank you guys very much for watching the Tuesday Tip. So we're down for a couple of weeks because everybody's indoors. So we're going to be doing some extra videos over the next couple of weeks on a lot of different topics. just because we're all at home and there's no sports and nobody can go out anywhere. So I thought I might as well talk to you a little bit. So have a great night and happy St. Patrick's Day.